facing prison. Now what? My name is Marc Blatstein, and in 2006, I too was indicted and convicted of a felony, losing my medical license. To call this event life-altering at best was an understatement, and I empathize with everything you're going through. With work, though, I was able to get my license reinstated in full back in 2010. And my takeaway or my lesson from this is that prison is temporary. Eventually, you're going to go home. And so, in preparing for your pre-sentence interview, preparation should include, in addition to all the documentation that the probation officer wants from you, a well-written personal narrative, a release plan, and the beginning of an allocution, which is your conversation with the judge. These three things can either positively or negatively impact your judge and either allow him to depart below the guidelines for less sentence or above the guidelines for more. And so my goal is to provide you with the information you'll need to survive and navigate these times, because knowledge and preparation together will help you build back the confidence you'll need throughout this process. Since you've heard that the Department of Justice and FBI has been asking questions, the case against you is mostly complete with their 98% conviction rate. Delaying in your next step is going to be at your peril. And the next step is finding an attorney who practices federal criminal defense in federal court. Hiring a legal team just doesn't mean that they have experience. They need to have a proven track record of successfully defending cases like yours. The choices that you're going to make today are going to help you tomorrow. Because if you enter into an agreement with them, with this legal team, and they're not a good fit for you, this may not allow you to get the best possible outcome available for you at the time or during sentencing. Should you have questions, because I realize that's a little bit confusing there, please don't hesitate to call and consider engaging my services at 240-888-7778. This is your life and your future. I've come through this, and I'm hoping to pass on some of what I've learned. Pre-sentence report enables the court to consider sentences that fall outside of the guideline range. It's important to note that the government typically is not going to provide this information voluntarily to your attorney. Therefore, your attorney doesn't know who you are. The judge knows that the prosecutor wants to put you in jail because you're responsible for the world's sins. The Department of Justice wants a conviction. Your attorney is paid to say nice things about you and keep you out of jail. But the judge doesn't know who you are. And that information can be pulled together through you writing a personal narrative that may impact the sentencing guidelines. Counsel will outline each factor for the probation officer to consider before you get into the interview. This is in a meeting that they have ahead of time where your attorney can present their case regarding you to the probation officer so that at least they can begin to try and get buy-in. Because if the prosecutor has attempted and reached the probation officer before your attorney does, the probation officer may have an opinion. It just may not be in your favor. The defendant does not have to have more than, you don't want more than 4 history criminal points. You don't want a prior 3-point offense or a prior 2-point violent offense. Not using violent threats. You don't want to have really any of these. For example, when I went into my criminal history points, I guess it was 0. If you're allowed to voluntarily surrender, that takes 3 points right off of your offense. If you're already at this point and don't have the time to wait and view my future videos, please give me a call and we can discuss your situation one-on-one. Once again, my number is 240-888-7778. Your crime, 4, did not result in a death or injury. You were not considered a leader, organizer, manager, or supervisor, whether you're in a drug deal or you're in a medical office. If you're in the medical office and you were responsible for, you had, let's say, doctors under you, physician assistants under you, other staff under you. If it's a drug crime and you have people who are selling for you, you don't want to be considered the leader or organizer of them. So your narrative has to be very, very clear to your attorney to provide them with the information needed. The defendant has to truthfully provide the government with all information and evidence. Again, the government's not going to provide you with anything and not going to provide it to the probation officer or the judge, anything that helps you. This is things that you need to come up with your attorney on your own. And part of it starts with you writing your narrative of your story of what happened. Because if you don't, the Department of Justice has done you a favor. They've already written your story or autobiography of what happened for you. It's called your indictment, and it's not that flattering. If the probation officer is open to a variation, persuading the court to impose the sentence below the guideline range could be crucial at this time. In other words, when your attorney's talking to the probation officer before you meet, and they get the feeling that the probation officer is kind of in agreement, this may be the time that, again, before the actual interview, to begin to put together the reasons why you deserve a sentence below the guideline range. The pre-sentence report can also provide information about the defendant's educational, vocational, avocational interests, which can help facility placement into a facility with appropriate programs to enhance your rehabilitation and a successful return to society. Knowing ahead of time what programs and medical care each facility provides, and I have all that information at my fingertips. I have prison packets that are available so that your attorney can present it as part of their sentencing memorandum that can better assist both you and your client in making a specific placement request and documenting program availability in that facility, paired with your needs as referenced in your pre-sentence report. The pre-sentence report is used by the judge to sentence you, the Bureau of Prisons to place you, halfway house to decide whether to take you, and if after when you're on supervised release, probation office again they will use it to profile you more or less before they meet you. So really, that pre-sentence report is going to follow you for the rest of your life, and it is the gift that keeps on giving. To engage my services, or should you have concerns answered, you want any concerns answered, call me today at 240-888-7778. This is my personal cell, and I answer and return all calls. Also, all information is free on my website at PPRSUS.com. That's P as in Paul, P as in Paul, R as in Robert, S as in Sam, US.com, or Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service, as I still have my license. I hope you found this helpful, and I'm grateful for you tuning in to listen today. Have a good day.